All right, we are live on YouTube, and today we're going to be discussing passing her tests, how men can date successfully and avoid the friend zone. So stick around and find out exactly what I'm talking about. All of that and much, much more is coming right. Whoa! From Northern California, welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. And if this is your first time here, and most importantly, you are open to suggestions and change, please consider subscribing and then banging that bell. And after you bang that bell, when that pop-up box pops up, make sure you select all notifications, because that way you won't miss a single thing. You will not miss anything when it comes to getting a better grip on your life. And also make sure on your smartphone, your tablet, your iPhone, your Android, or anywhere that you have the YouTube app installed on, you must also make sure that the YouTube app is set to receive those notifications at a device level. You do all of that, and you're all set to go. I've got an itch on my nose already. Excuse me. It's rude to do it on the air, but hey, I'm as real gets. So if I have an itch, I'm going to scratch it. I don't care. It is what it is. I'm human, right? Just because I'm a coach doesn't mean I'm not human, right? Who agrees with that? Welcome to the show, everyone. Let me just make sure that the notification has gone out. It looks like it has gone out. And let me just check the back end here and see if we are doing well on doing good on the stream status. Looks like it's excellent. And we've got 8 people in the box to start things off. So thank you so much for being here. All right. So first things first, this video is sponsored by the Discover Community Network for all of your product and service needs, with reviews from the top people in the industry. People that know what they're doing, people that are not going to rip you off, people that are going to find you the right answer the first time around. Check out www.discovercommunitynetwork.com and say hi to my buddy Troy while you're over there. Feel free to send him an email and say hi, but make sure you send him a positive email. No trolls allowed to email Troy. I'm sure Troy we'll get some trolling emails because, he's a public figure as well. That's just part of the game. But yeah, please check out Discover Community Network at www.discovercommunitynetwork.com. The link is below in the description, about a third of the way down. And there's also another link. You can check out the DCN Internet Radio Network if you'd like to listen to music from many various genres, including if you like, talk shows. There's a DCN Internet radio station, more than likely that suits your needs. You can check out that link below there as well at www.dcninternetradionetwork.com. One more time, www.dcninternetradionetwork.com. And, if you reach out to the people of the DCN, tell them Coach Eli sent you with love. All right. All right. So now that we've taken care of business, it's always great to do business with friends, by the way, folks, especially if you trust them. A lot of people say don't do business with friends because it could ruin your friendship. Well, that can happen. But when you have a relationship like I do with my friend Troy of over 8 years, where we've helped each other out and worked together on so many projects, and not one time have we ever had any negative interactions. That's a beautiful relationship. So, it can go one way or another, but honestly, I would prefer to do business with people that I know, like, and trust, and I know are not going to take advantage of me, and they know I won't take advantage of them. And we're both going to be fair. That's just the way I work. And those are the types of people I'm looking to work with as well. All right, let's start off by getting to the chat here. I know there were some questions already before we get to today's topic. It's going to be an interesting show. We're going to be discussing passing her tests, and we're going to be talking about women that test men to see if they're suitable for dating, and how men can date successfully and avoid the friend zone in this crazy modern world that we all live in today. Lewis Fuller's in the house. Hey, Lewis, how you doing? I just gave you a like. Thank you for the like, Lewis. I appreciate it. We have 5 likes already. Let's get those likes up, folks. Please feel free to like the stream. It'll help us get a little more exposure through the YouTube algorithm, and I will bless you and thank you for it as well. Let's see. Lewis Fuller says, do you have to go to school for what you do? Just curious. And then he says, as a left coach. I'm not quite sure what you meant as a left coach. Are you talking about a left-leaning, slight left liberal? Because if you were asking, do my political views have anything to do with my coaching methods? I'm not quite sure if that's what you were asking, Lewis, but if it was, no, my political views have nothing to do with my coaching methods. As a matter of fact, even though I'm a slight left liberal, I'm more down the middle. I like views from both the left and the right that make sense, that help out the best overall interest of everyone. So if that was a part of it, hopefully I answered that question there. But again, I'm not quite sure what you meant as a left coach. But no, you do not have to go to school to be a life coach. The life coaching industry is not a regulated industry by the government. In most countries, if not all countries, I don't know of any country that regulates life coaching. So then you may ask, well, how do you qualify as a life coach? Well, I did a stream on this many weeks ago where I went over the About section on my website at www.coach.eliasmelas.com. And if you go to my About section, you'll read more about me. And then you'll also read the next section below that, how am I qualified? But I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of that here. Just because anyone can be a life coach like I am, I'm a self-proclaimed life coach, doesn't mean everyone knows what they're talking about or has had enough experience to be able to help people with life coaching situations. So you have to know what you're doing. You have to be confident. You have to have lots of experience. And that's where, my qualifications come into play. I have almost 17 years of experience working in the corporate world. I have experience transitioning from the corporate world into becoming a self-employed entrepreneur, Lewis. I've been an entrepreneur for over 13 years. I ran a successful insurance business that I recently sold, and now I'm doing life coaching full time. That's on the business aspect. Now, on the dating aspect, I have a lot of experience in dating women. I've done a lot of personal development. I've read a lot of books, read a lot of articles, but most importantly, I have a lot of experience in dating women, and I'm 46 years old. So I'm not, a teenager falling in love for the first time, where I had no clue what I was doing back then, brother. So that's where I get my experience from, and that's how I'm qualified. But anyone can self-proclaim themselves a life coach. That doesn't mean people are going to watch your content or use your services. You have to know what you're doing in order to, make it a successful business like I'm creating here. Additionally, you can get certified to be a life coach. And I had talked late last year, earlier on this year, that I was going to get certified just for the heck of it. I'm still probably going to do that at some point. But that certification is not going to change a single thing regarding the ways I do it. And it's not going to teach me any new methods. It's not going to affect anything. All it's going to do is put this fancy designation in front of my name that says, or after my name, Coach Eli, certified life coach, right? Or Elias Melas, certified life coach, right? But where am I certified from? There are many certification programs out there for life coaching. And typically, these certifications are done by companies that are looking to hire people to sell life coaching services on their behalf. And then they take a cut of, whatever clients you build based off of the program they've created and taught you to run. So that's why for me, any designation I get, it would not be me working for that company or teaching their methods. It would still be me teaching my own methods. That's why I created my own program. And that's why, I have not, gotten the certification yet, because for me, I don't want to resell or teach anyone else's products, not products, but services. I create my own based on my past experiences. And that way I can, share my stories with you folks that may help you through some tough situations. And that way you can break through those tough situations and accomplish whatever it is that your heart desires. So hopefully that answers your question there, Lewis. Let's see. I said, great question in the chat. And Lewis got back and said, you're welcome. My pleasure. Let's see here. Mutt's in the house. Mutt Nuts World. Hey, Eli and everyone. Hey, Mutt. Hello, Eli says, Queen. Hello, Queen. Or Mutt says, hey, Queen. Queen Helen Casey says, smash the like button for Eli. Thank you, Queen. Let's see. Lewis Fuller, good afternoon, host, and everyone in the stream. Let's see. I'm watching your ads as well. Well, thank you, Lewis. I appreciate that, man. Let me see. Well, we got a $20 super chat from someone that I don't know if it's the real him. I used to associate with this person back in the days. And apparently he must have said something that was ban-worthy, so Queen banned him. But Queen, can you do me a favor? Can you... Oh, here it is. Oh, I have... you know what? I have it in my viewer activity. And you didn't ban him, Queen. You just deleted the message. Okay, no worries. Well, you did ban him. It says ban below. The head of the Department of Natural Resources says that you should wear a mask even when you're alone at home on a remote video discussion. Well, I don't know if that's I can't even talk. I don't know if that's the real you, Eric, whether it is or isn't. Whoever sent that $20 super chat, thank you for the $20. I greatly appreciate it. But yeah, I don't even know why. I don't even know why you paid $20 to put that in there. I have no clue. I don't know if sending a super chat bypasses somebody being banned. I'm not quite sure about that. But anyway, thank you for the $20. And I hope all is well with you. If that's the real you, Eric, I've never had a problem with you in the past. I think you've seen what's been going on lately. Or it could be somebody duplicating your account. Nevertheless, thanks for the $20. What else am I going to say? Anyway. Good shot, Queen, says Mutt. Okay. Let me see here 1 second. I want to make sure that a lot of these channels that are getting banned are not getting banned for the wrong reason. Okay. I'm just checking them with my go-to channel extension on Chrome. Okay. Yeah, you know who's back, right, Queen? It's all good. Let him have some fun for now. Let him have some fun for now before, the biggest reality check of his life hits him soon. It's not a big deal. Mutt Nuts World says, how dumb are trolls? Queen says, nice try, troll. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. All right, so let's get right to it. Here's how today's show is going to go. Again, the topic of today's show is passing her tests, also known as shit tests, right? We've all, heard the tests that women give men, being referred to as shit tests, right? How men can date successfully and avoid the friend zone. One more time, passing her tests. How men can date successfully and avoid the friend zone. If you really like a woman that you're communicating with, the last place you want to be with her is in the friend zone. And the last situation you want to be in with her is in the friend zone, you not realizing it, she realizes it, and then she takes advantage of the fact that she knows you like her and don't realize that you're in the friend zone. So she's going to try to take advantage of you, knowing that you like her, but she only wants to be friends, right? So we're going to talk about, what puts men in the friend zone and, how women test men to see if, they're, the right fit to date and not be friend zone. And there are things that you men can do or avoid doing to prevent you from getting into that friend zone. Now, in some cases, if not many cases, it just was never meant to be with that particular woman, right? Okay. And those cases, a woman will come out and probably say, well, I'm just looking to be friends. Are you okay with that, right? They may ask you that, right? And you never want to agree to friendship. You always want to respond to that and say, well, I'm not interested in being friends. And she might say, well, why is that? Well, because you know what? I think you're a beautiful woman. You have a great personality. And I'm looking for something romantic. But if that's not what you're looking for, I'm going to let you go. Have yourself a great day. Take it easy. And best of luck to you. Then you turn and walk away and you never look back. You never call her again. You never text her. You never email her. You forget that she even exists. And that might get her to think, wow, he just walked away from me. He's not trying to change my mind to get himself out of the friend zone. He stood up for himself. He didn't sit there and let my beauty, my good looks and charm and what I said to him faze him. He didn't agree with the terms. Guys, you can't agree with those terms if that's not what you want. Why would you agree to be just friends with a woman when you want something more? That doesn't make any sense. And it's pretty pathetic in my opinion too. So, anyway, but before we get into, I actually have a blog I'm going to be dissecting today. Let me just read the title of that blog, and then I have a first part of this show that I want to share with you folks. The title of today's blog is from a site called medium.com, and it's called How and Why Women Test Men and Why They Fail. One more time, how and why women test men and why they fail. And more than likely what's going to happen is the first part of this show is going to take us to about the 45-minute mark of this stream. I will take a quick break after that and then come back and critique this blog and dissect it pretty much line by line. And it's a pretty good one. It's very interesting. So you're going to want to stick around for that. But in the meantime, I'm going to share with you folks another story of another woman I talked with by phone last night that I met from one of the dating sites I have a profile on. Before I get to that, Queen, Mutt, Lewis, or anyone else that's in the chat, how many of you out there, and even if you're on the replay, and watching this, please feel free to comment in the comments section and let me know. How many of you are enjoying and appreciating me sharing my real life experiences regarding these topics? Do you feel it brings more value, me sharing my experiences, what I'm going through, how I'm handling it, and how these women have responded to me? Is that interesting to you, or does it not make a difference? I'm really curious to know. Please let me know in the chat. So we're going to get to that blog during the second half of this show, like I said. But again, getting to the this next story here, while I wait for the chat to get back here. Give me just a second here. Okay. I just had to check something real quick. So I was talking to another lady last night. She seemed like a decent lady. And we communicated through the dating app. And then I asked her for her number if she was open to talking by phone later on in the evening. And she gave me her number, and we started texting. And she seemed really excited to connect with me. And we started texting back and forth. And I always ask a few questions that are going to come up as red flags, kind of, sort of, right? And so this woman is a 49-year-old woman, a 49-year-old beautiful Asian woman. And she has been in the U.S. She's from, she's not from here originally. And she came over here, I believe she said, when she was like 10 or 15 years old. So she's been here for quite some time. Let me read the chat real quick. It really don't make a difference, but it does make sense. So you're saying, Queen, that me sharing my personal experiences are not helpful. Okay, I mean, I'm just curious. Not a big deal. I'm just asking. Melas World says, I am, and yes, I believe it does bring value and information that may help others who may be in the same place in the dating world. Okay, perfect. And Lewis Fuller with the thumbs up and the pink hearts on a little, ring. Or maybe it's one of those things that, goes around your hand, the band, whatever they call it, right? So I was texting this woman back and forth, and I was asking her a few questions. I ended up asking her, do you live by yourself or do you have roommates? I always ask that question before I even go to the phone, because I want to know what their living situation's like. Is it going to be a living situation where if we start dating, I can go over to her place, spend nights, and, have a little fun like people do in relationships, to put it, politely, just like she'd be able to come to my place? Or is she in a living situation where she's not allowed to have guests over? She gets back to me, 49-year-old woman gets back to me and says that I live with my parents, but I'm taking care of my parents. Okay. I'm not going to hold that against you. That is a valid reason. But I'm still not satisfied until I talk with you to see your behavior around what you just said. So I scheduled a phone conversation with her, later on in the evening last night, and we started talking. And she did have an accent, but her accent wasn't as thick as other people from her country that came to the U.S. at a much later age. So I told her, I really can't tell you have a full accent, but, it sounds like you speak great English, and you seem like a nice person. It's nice to meet you. She's like, great to meet you as well. So I started to ask her some questions, and some of the questions I was asking her were, how long have you been single for, and what have some of your dating experiences been like? I was just curious to know. She goes, well, I was married for a while. I don't have any kids. I was married for a while. And I got divorced 7 years ago, and I really haven't been dating that much over the last 7 years. I've gone on a few dates, and it just seems like, these men are just not, they just, they ask too many questions, and, they don't understand where I'm coming from. And I'm like, oh boy, right when I started hearing her talk like that, I was just, already just kind of getting turned off already. Right. And to make a long story short, I asked her some questions, what were they asking? Well, the guy asked me, how much money do I make? I said, that's pretty rude. I mean, there's no need to ask, a woman how much money, she makes, or there's no need for a woman to ask a man how much money he makes early on. You're getting to know each other. I mean, there's a time and place for that if you start to date and you get your own place together, or you decide to get married. that's when finances need to be discussed, but that's too early on. But I was basically asking her, well, tell me more about this guy. What does he do for a living? Well, he's a scientist, and he does, I can't remember exactly what he did. It was a pretty prominent position. So, and I said, how old is he? Well, he's 44 years old. So he's a little bit younger than you, probably looks pretty good, probably makes good money, maybe at least 200-300 grand a year or more. So he's probably trying to find a really good woman that's going to be at his level. Now, I said that's probably why he was asking you how much money you make. Because, if he's making a lot of money, and men and women are equal nowadays, he's probably looking for someone at his level. And maybe based on, your initial conversation with him, you made yourself appear to him like you're something that maybe you're not. And now he wants to find out if it's worthy to continue dating you, right? So, to make a long story short with this woman here, I asked her what she's looking for, and she said, I'm eventually looking for true love and happiness, but right now, I've been told by a few of my friends, and I have this personal trainer, this fitness trainer that I go walking with all the time and do other exercises with, that's telling me just go out there and have fun and date a bunch of guys and don't commit to anyone. So she goes, right now I'm just looking to date, I'm just looking to date. I'm not looking to, I'm not saying I don't necessarily want to get serious with somebody. I do eventually want that. I just want to take my time and find the right man. So basically what she's telling me is that she wants to date she wants to date multiple men at once. So I asked her, I said, so are you looking to date multiple men at once? She goes, well, that's not exactly what I'm saying. Well, what are you exactly saying? I'm just, so now I could see why this guy was asking her a lot of questions, because she's like all over the place with what she wants. And it looks like she's trying to play the field to find that one person and trying to hide it from men, but she's not doing a good enough job. And she's catching herself in her own lies, right? I mean, this was pretty freaking pathetic, I have to say. So anyway, I told her, I said, look, I said, I can understand if you're talking to 2 or 3 people sending messages through a dating app like where we met. But once I connect with one person by phone, my focus is on them completely unless we decide we're not going to move further after the call, right? Or talk again. So I asked her one more question before, the call ended. I said, so honestly, what did you think about, she was talking about physical attraction and all that and this and that, right? And chemistry and all that. I said, well, what did you think about the pictures in my profile? What did you think about my pictures, right? She was talking about fitness and how important it is to her and this and that. I'm like, well, what did you think about my pictures? And she goes, well, I really liked your profile. It was very well written. And, I just really liked everything you had to say. You're straightforward. You're honest. You're this, you're that. Right. So that's what I liked about your profile. I said, that's not what I asked you. I asked you, what do you think about my pictures? Well, it's not all about the pictures to me. I understand that. I'm the same way, ma'am. I didn't call her ma'am. I called her by her name, but I'm not going to dox these women out here, and then these trolls are going to find out who they are, and they're going to, attack them, right? I said, I think you're a pretty attractive woman. You're a beautiful woman, I mean, and you seem to be, a pretty decent person. In my head, I'm like, this woman is not someone that's going to work for me. She's lost in space, in my opinion, right? But at this point, I was like, it's probably not going to work. Now I'm looking for content. Now I'm using this for content for, my next show, right? Because one way or another, I'm either going to find the right woman or I'm going to make more content out of it, right? And share it with other people so they can learn how to better handle situations, how to avoid these situations, right? So she wouldn't answer it. She said, sometimes, I've dated a guy in the past who was not my typical physical type. He was, a little bit out of shape. I said, so he was pretty fat, right? No disrespect. I'm just saying, yeah, he was, but he had a really, really great personality. And, he was a good guy, nice guy. I'm like, oh, no, I'm hearing this nice guy, right? Nice guy, overweight, probably insecure, right? Probably happy to have a beautiful woman like you. He's probably taking you to nice dinners, taking you on weekend getaways, right? You probably have a little intimacy every now and then because you're really not attracted to him physically, but you're not really being as intimate with him as you'd want to be with your physical type, right? So I asked her, I said, so obviously you're no longer with that guy. How long did that relationship last? Was it a year, 5 years, 3 years? Well, it was less than a year. Okay. I didn't even want to ask how much less than a year it was, but I can probably tell you that relationship probably lasted 6 months or less. Why? Because when I asked her a question, I said, ma'am, what do you think about my pictures? I know that's not everything, but it's one aspect out of the equation. The physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. All four of those things have to be there in order for chemistry to be there. You're saying that you can overlook not being physically attracted to somebody if they have everything else, right? That's the same thing as saying you'd date a broke man if he was hot and sexy. That wouldn't work either, man. That wouldn't work either. So the kicker, the spoiler at the end of the story is this. I could tell she was getting tired. We were on the phone for almost an hour, and I wanted to end this call anyway myself. I said, okay, it sounds like you're getting tired, and I need to get some rest myself. I'm going to, let you get going. Is there anything else that you want to say, before we end the call? And she's like, well, no, it was really, really nice talking with you, and, I enjoyed the conversation. I said, anything else? She said, no. I said, so would you like to talk again another time? Are you interested in talking further? Because you didn't mention that. She's like, oh. I'm not even going to get to the final part. Basically, we talked another minute or so, and I just said, basically, you know what? If you're interested, you reach out to me. She'll probably never reach out to me again, but if she does, she's getting no response and she's getting the block. That's what you're dealing with nowadays, folks. And this woman is 49 years old, living with her family, saying that she's taking care of her parents. To me, it sounds like she can't even take care of herself. Yet she says she's taking care of her parents. You got to ask the right questions so that way you can quickly eliminate people that aren't good matches for you. I was a little too hot for her to handle. I was a little too honest. She wants to find a guy that she's going to be able to manipulate and convince him that she's something that she's not. Ma'am, I'm telling you, until you start being yourself and work on whatever it is that you're lacking, you're never going to find the right person. Anyway, now, let me see where we're at right now. We are at 34 minutes. I have I have one more story that I want to share. I have one more story I want to share. Another woman wrote back to me on one of the dating apps I used today. It was a rejection reply. But I'm going to read this because she wrote me a book of a response. So I had sent her an email or a message through the dating app. And I said, I'd love to get to know you, blah, blah, blah. a first initial message because I liked her profile, right? Seemed pretty cool, right? And she got back to me about a day later, and she wrote me this. And I'm going to critique this because it was a book. We aren't a match, Eli, but I appreciate your reaching out. There's some grammar errors in here, so I'm going to try to read it the proper way. So if I use improper grammar, just know it's not me, it's what she wrote. Then, second paragraph, unsolicited feedback because I think you are earnest. Ma'am, because you think I'm a decent, earnest guy. You want to give me a piece of your mind instead of just not responding to me at all because you're not interested, or just saying what most other normal women will say, thank you for your interest, Eli, but I don't feel we're a good match. Best of luck to you. But no, you have to give me unsolicited feedback because you think I am earnest. Good Lord, man. God, I was born during the wrong time. Sometimes I wish I was born 100 years ago. Third paragraph, and this is a long one. The profiles that attract me, and I imagine other women. Now remember, she wrote my very direct profile, right? So the profiles that attract me, and I imagine other women, are those that delineate. Ooh, that's a big word, ma'am. In positive terms, who the man is, what about life lights him up, what he brings to relationships, how he shows love, and what his aspirations are. I share all of that in my profile, ma'am, and I also share what I won't put up with. So that way, you don't waste my time, and I don't waste your time if you feel we're not the right fit for each other. Your last paragraph did this well. Well, thank you. Thank you for the compliment, ma'am. Were you not physically attracted to my pictures? Is that a reason? Or did parts of my profile that were trying to give off the vibe that I don't put up with BS, did that turn you off? Because I don't think anyone, male or female, should put up with BS, which is what I'm trying to say. When I read profiles that make assumptions about game playing, ma'am, do you like game playing? And do you know how many people play games? How many guys have played games on you, man? This is ridiculous. This is you having an emotional moment, ma'am. Maybe it's that time for you, time of the month. I don't know, ma'am. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just like, this was really unnecessary. When I read profiles that make assumptions about game playing or has anticipatory judgments in them, ma'am, I'm not anticipating anything. I'm trying to make it clear I just don't want to put up with anyone like that, right? And the way you're responding to me is saying that you're one of those women that would have driven me crazy had we gotten into a relationship, right? I think my profile more than likely triggered you because I was too honest for you. No flake zone. That's what I put at the top of my profile. No flake zone. I don't want any flakes. Do you want a flake, ma'am? Do you like when people flake out on you on a first date or on a scheduled phone call? Do you like flakes, ma'am? You know how many times I was flaked on before I added that to my profile many years ago? I used to get flaked on a lot, and I said I've had enough. I'm going to put out exactly what I want and don't want, and if you don't like me, so be it. But if you do and you appreciate my profile like many women have, and you give it a chance, you're going to be with the Greek stallion in more ways than one. And I'm not kidding about the Greek stallion. But there have been very few people that know how much of a stallion this Greek guy is. So you're missing out, man. You really are. And I need to project, my stallion. All that matters is what I know and how I feel about it and myself, right? But you're definitely missing out, ma'am. So she said once again, when I read profiles that make assumptions about game playing or has anticipatory judgments in them, no flake zone, I feel turned off. No, ma'am. You're getting called out on who you are. You're turned off because that's how you see yourself. You see, ma'am, if you weren't the type of woman that I didn't want to deal with, which is part of what I mentioned in my profile, this would not be turning you off, ma'am. In essence, ma'am, you got called out indirectly. Ma'am, I didn't write that profile specifically for you. I wrote that for any woman out there that would be interested and feel it would be a great match to reach out to me. You didn't have to respond to me, ma'am. Yes, I did send you a message initially, but you didn't have to respond, or you could have responded again in a simple way. Hey, Eli, we're not a match. Thank you for your interest. Best of luck to you. Or just not respond at all. There are a lot, well, I think she meant to say there's a lot of reasons for why some women may need more written correspondence than a man likes. So you're saying that you want to go back and forth for a week or two or three before you even exchange numbers to feel comfortable, right? Whereas, if you give a guy your number and even if he tries to crank call you, you can just block his number, man. And maybe there's a deal breaker for you. It is, because I don't want a pen pal. I don't. I mean, we can write back and forth one day, maybe 2 days, but if we're not on the phone by the third day, I'm moving on. I want to see if we have the chemistry or not. And then we'll talk on the phone once, maybe twice, and then if we don't meet, I'm moving on. Because there'll be a woman out there that's going to be more of a chance taker like me and not want to waste time like me, ma'am. Let me look at the chat real quick here. All right. Let me see here. Give me a second. All right, let's continue. But I would frame it as a need you have rather than a judgment about her pen pal. Ma'am, who's being judgmental? Right now, you're acting like a feminist. I wouldn't date you, ma'am. Right now, you're flexing your muscles, ma'am. And I'm not even, ma'am, I sent you a message saying, I'd like to get to know you. I like your profile. Check mine out. If you feel the same way, get back to me. That's all, ma'am. That's all. I'm not passing judgment. I put it out there, not even as a need. It's a requirement. It's a requirement for me. And if it doesn't work for you, ma'am, just move on. But now you're flexing your muscles. I am woman, hear me roar, roar, right? Come on, ma'am. Don't be ridiculous. This is pointless here. She said, but I would frame it as a need you rather have than a judgment about her pen pal. For example, I don't ever say no games. So are you saying you like games, ma'am? Now, ma'am, I put that in my profile because I don't want any games, ma'am. I'm not here to play games. I'm a grown-ass man. I'm looking for a grown-ass woman to have a relationship and a potential life with, ma'am. I simply don't play them. For example, I don't ever say no games. I simply don't play them while dating. Well, ma'am, obviously you're an empowered, modern-day, strong, independent woman, right? Ma'am, whose course have you taken? Who's brainwashed you to react this way, ma'am? This is completely unnecessary and ridiculous. My internal radar for game playing is finely tuned. Well, that's great to hear, ma'am. So is mine. But the reason why I added that to my profile is because I want to avoid even getting a one-line message from a woman if she doesn't resonate with my profile. I don't want to receive any responses from women that don't feel we resonate. Even if I send you a message and I like your profile, if you don't like mine, then don't respond, or respond and say, hey, thanks for your interest. I'm sorry we're not a match. Best of luck to you. Take care. The best thing you can do is just not respond. But you're responding, man. You're flexing your muscles. I trust my evaluation of the person I am interacting with because I trust myself. Well, that's called intuition, ma'am. And here's another thing about me, ma'am, is that I'm one of the most intuitive men on the planet. Now, intuition is more of a feminine characteristic. It's a part of your biology, ma'am. Women are pretty much born with it, and men are not. But there are a few intuitive men out there, and I am one of them. And let me tell you something, because I'm that intuitive, I can pick up on women's BS as well as men can pick up on, I can pick up on women's BS as well as women can pick up on men's BS, right? So, ma'am, I ain't buying this. I'm not buying this, man. You're projecting hard right now, man. You're projecting your insecurities because you can't find a good man, where I could have been a good man that could have shown you what a real man's all about. And see, man, you're the kind of woman that wants a man to conform to your wants and needs. You're going to get a beta male that's going to give you everything you want the way you want it. And then after a while, you're going to be bored of him because, he's going to be a boring dude. You're going to wonder, well, what's wrong? What's wrong? Well, man, when the real man comes around, you flex your muscles and either don't give him a chance or you scare him away. I mean, look at this. This is pathetic. This is absolutely pathetic. Go with that, she says. Trust yourself. That is appealing to women. Ma'am, I do trust myself, ma'am. And ma'am, I just made content off of you. Now, I didn't use your name, and you're probably not even watching this. You don't know who, I mean, you could probably, look me up if you wanted to. My pictures are out there. My name is out there. You can find it, right? I do trust myself, ma'am. And I'm one of the most honest people anyone, including you, will ever know. It's just that sometimes people can't handle the truth. Can't handle the truth. That's all. That's what it boils down to. I'm not trying to attack you or criticize you. I'm not trying to come off as demeaning. You're basically, in other words, saying, ma'am, that I sound demeaning. In other words, you're trying to tell me I sound demeaning towards women in my profile without saying that. Because had you said that, ma'am, I would be laughing at you 10 times harder than I just did. Anyways, enough of this. There's another pathetic online dating app story there. This is what you're up against today, guys. And gals, too. Don't get me wrong. Women deal with men like this, too. But I'm a guy looking to meet a woman. And this is just some of the most, I tell you, over the last 3 to 6 months, I've seen some of the most pathetic responses from women in the online dating world that claim to be mature and professional. It's just really sad. All right, we are at 48 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and cue up some cool, awesome, amazing, royalty-free YouTube music that is safe from copyright and safe from being demonetized, so Lewis Fuller can continue to watch all my ads because he's such a great guy. So give me a second here. What am I going to play? What am I going to play? One more second here, folks. We're almost set. All right, folks, stick around. When we come back, I'm going to get into the blog, how and why women test men and why they fail. We're going to get more into, why women test men, how to pass her tests. I'll be sharing that as part of my commentary while I'm going over this blog. And we're also going to talk about how men can date successfully and avoid the friend zone. So stick around. We'll be back in about 5 to 7 or 8 minutes. We'll be right back. masculine energy, baby. Who likes masculine energy? If you're a lady, that is, right? Yeah. Masculine energy! All right, give me a second here. I gotta take a sip of my drink. That took a lot of masculine energy to exude, I'll tell you that. Still pretty warm out here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Very humid. I got my fan on cranked right now. All right, we're good. All right. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, live here on YouTube. I love YouTube. It's a place where you can express yourself and allow others to express themselves as well. Have some great dialogue, learn a thing or two or three or four, get entertained, and unfortunately deal with some unnecessary drama, which, yeah, we're no longer dealing with that over here. We've moved past it. It is 6:41 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 3:41 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time in my neck of the woods here in, once again, the beautiful, glorious San Francisco Bay Area where I live. And today we are discussing passing her tests, how men can date successfully and avoid the friend zone. One more time. Passing her tests, how men can date successfully and avoid the friend zone. You know, Queen, you know, it's funny. You know, our buddy's here again, right? Because he doesn't have a job. He thinks I don't have a job, right? But he doesn't have a job, right? But he's always here trolling every time I go live, regardless of the time. Right, sir. So you claim to be this 31-year-old, high-tech employee or something like that, right? You're in the computer industry, right? The high-tech world, right? Yeah. Anyway, again, your time will come soon. I'm just surprised at how many sock accounts Google has allowed him to create, because they've actually put stricter things in place to stop this from happening. They ask for more verification. I mean, he must have a bunch of phone numbers that he can use to verify accounts, and he just spends all day every day doing it. It's just pretty freaking pathetic, in my opinion. Maybe he even changes the account names every now and then. I don't know, but it's not a big deal. All right, Mudnuts World says, welcome back, Eli. I'm back myself. Made me some hot tea for my throat. It is hurting a little from the scope they put down my throat today at my doctor's appointment to check out a few things. I hope you're doing okay, Mutt. And please continue on your journey of becoming more healthy. I want you to be around for a very long time and keep us in the loop. I'm going to continue praying for you, and I'm sure Queen Helen Casey and many others that care about you will do the same. So, and Queen says, I know that loser is here. Yeah, it's just pathetic, Queen. It's just pathetic. But it's giving you something to do, right, Queen? It's keeping you busy, right? You're earning that little blue wrench, right? Maybe you can just throw one, to Mutt. Mutt, you want to take this one? Maybe you can give her one just so Mutt can feel a little special, right? So that way, Mutt can, smash this dude on the head with the wrench, right? Makes me wonder why YouTube chose the wrench as a symbol for a moderator. Maybe the wrench is symbolizing that, if you haters come in here and violate the rules of the channel owner, we're going to hit you on top of the head with the wrench, right? I know YouTube doesn't like to incite violence or anything like that. I'm just, it's just an interesting symbol they used or icon they used to denote a moderator, a blue wrench. All right. And Queen Ellen Case says, yep. All right. Folks, let's get back to it here. Let's go ahead and get right to this blog. It's going to be pretty interesting. And let's just switch over to the browser screen. And the title of this blog is How and Why Women Test Men and Why They Fail. One more time. How and Why Women Test Men and Why They Fail. Written by Tessia Blake. This was written last year, February 24th, 2019. And it says 5-minute read. Well, I'm going to be dissecting it and critiquing it. So it's going to take a bit longer than that. All right. In essence, a woman will test men to find out if they have the traits she values the most in a partner. Yeah, to see if he's mentally, emotionally, and physically strong enough to be with her. Especially nowadays that women have been liberated, women are empowered, and women are independent. They're going to test men, more than ever now. And you have to be a more centered and more strong or a stronger man than ever to have a good relationship nowadays. Very often she's interested in evaluating how much he's paying attention to her and her needs. Well, that is true. You need to pay attention to her, to her and her needs, her wants and needs and all that, but you can't overdo it either. Because from what I've learned from other coaches and myself, just experiencing this with women, is that the quickest way to get a woman's attention is to remove yours. One more time. The quickest way to get a woman's attention, or anyone's attention for that sake, is to remove yours. Like Queen, this troll that keeps coming in here, the quickest way to get his attention is to remove mine. Like, I haven't really given him any attention, like, for most of the show. Now I've kind of, talked about it in a joking way. I don't really care, to be honest with you. But, that's how you get people's attention. You remove your attention from them, right? And they're wondering why you're no longer, talking about them, right? If he's selfless, attentive, and invested, well, you should be selfless as a man, but so should the woman. You should be attentive as a man, but so should the woman. And you should be invested, and so should the woman. Okay? So, I agree. She wants to see if, he can meet her at her level and she can meet him at his level. At least that's how I think it should be. It should be a two-way street. Women test for a partner's ability to notice they need him without having to ask. So one more time. Women test for a partner's ability to notice they need him without having to ask. Yeah, women shouldn't have to ask you to instinctively do the things that men are supposed to do for women in a relationship. If they're in any danger, you protect them, you stand up for them if it's necessary, right? If they, are not feeling good about something, you should ask them, hey, babe, I sense there's something wrong. May I help you with something, right? But some men will see a woman not feeling good and they'll just ignore her, right? Because they don't want to put up with it. Well, to those guys, I have to say, hey, if you don't want to put up with it, then why are you dating women? Why don't you become a monk? And that'll solve that. But then, you'll be deprived in other ways that you don't want to be deprived in, right? And that's where the she wants me to read her mind complaints usually come from. Well, yeah, that's because women speak in code. Women speak in Morse code. It's like when you go on a date with a woman. I mentioned stories like this in the recent past and on recent streams. You go on a date with a woman. She's not going to tell you that she wants you to rip her clothes off and make mad, passionate love to her. She's going to come and start moving closer to you and start to maybe gently rub your, your forearm or your shoulder, or, she'll look at you with glistening eyes. And in essence, she's saying, hey, big boy, I want you to take me home tonight and show me how much of a man you are. But she's not going to say that. But come on, guys. I mean, how much more obvious does she have to make it without the words coming out of her mouth? So yes, a lot of times, in essence, that's why guys say, I can't, she won't tell me, women want me to read their mind. Well, in essence, they kind of do. That's how they were made to be. And that's how men initially were made to be. That's how men were initially made to be as well. Men need to understand this about women and be able to read the signs. If you're a man and you have not gotten good at reading the signs from a woman, you're not going to be successful at dating. So that's where those complaints usually come from. Okay. Please notice, I'm not talking about the female plea for men to step up and pick up their share of the emotional labor involved in maintaining a household and a family as a couple. Why wouldn't you? I think both the man and the woman, should step up and, equally contribute to the emotional labor involved in maintaining a household and a family as a couple. I think men should, if a man loves a woman and a woman loves a man, they should basically, do everything at an equal level. Everything, including emotional labor. It doesn't only have to be the woman being the more nurturing one to the kids. You as a man can be very nurturing as well, even though it's more of a, feminine emotional characteristic or trait, right? If you're going to be a good man, you should be able to show your wife, or your girlfriend, or, your kids, that, hey, you have emotions too. There's nothing wrong with men having emotions as long as you're not overly emotional and you don't let your emotions, destroy your manhood, right? Nothing wrong with a man showing emotion. Doing the dishes unprompted and taking up some of the child care is not reading your female partner's mind. It is simply being an adult who actively contributes to running a healthy life as a couple. I just said that in different words, and they had that highlighted there. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay, perfect. I just said that. I agree. I'm talking about those moments when she's mad at you and you don't know why. Sometimes it has nothing to do with you. Sometimes something else is going on, at her work or with one of her other friends or her parents, something that has nothing to do with you. And she's going to sit there and she's not going to feel good about it. And she doesn't really want to burden you with it because she loves you, but she wants you to see that she's not feeling good about something and to ask her. Like with my ex, I've shared this story before. I'll share it again. With my ex, there were times where she would just sit there, like on the couch, on the bed. Maybe I was in the computer working on something, and I could tell she was unhappy about something. I said, hey, babe, what's wrong? When I pick up on that, which I can pick up on that pretty quickly, right? You can sense the mood changing, right? Hey, babe, what's wrong? And she would say, oh, there's nothing wrong, babe. There's absolutely nothing wrong. I said, babe, why don't you tell me what's wrong? This is out of your usual pattern. What is wrong? Babe, there's nothing wrong, right? Babe, listen, if there's one thing I've learned about women in my 40 plus years of life, it's when I ask if there's something wrong and they say there's nothing wrong. There's something really freaking wrong, babe. Now, I wouldn't elevate my voice to her at that point, but I'd say there's something wrong. So, babe, why don't we talk about it so you can tell me if I've done something wrong or if something else is happening that you want my support on. I can either apologize to you or support you and help you work through it. So that way we can go and enjoy our night, have a nice dinner, and, this doesn't have to, put a huge, load on your back or weight on your back, right? Okay, babe, blah, 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 blah. And part of it had to do with me, being on the computer too much and other things like that. And she was right about that. And yeah, babe, you're right. You're right. We don't have a whole lot of time to spend together. I shouldn't be even on the computer 5 or 10 minutes while I'm here. You're right. You're right. You know what? I'm going to shut this thing off. Let's go to a nice dinner. And then we'll come back and we'll have some fun, just you and me. Just you and me, snuggled up. You know how that goes, right? She goes, that sounds like an awesome plan. Her face lit up. That's all they want. That's all women want. They just want to be loved and appreciated, right? When you get to that point in the relationship after you've established things, that's all they really want. They just want to be loved and appreciated. I think part of the problem nowadays with women and feminism is that a lot of women feel that men don't appreciate the fact that they've risen up. And that's why when you even question anything to do with feminism in the modern world and the strong, empowered woman, they get really guarded because they feel like you're attacking what they worked so hard to accomplish, right? They feel like you're devaluing it and you're not appreciating it. Women just want to feel appreciated and loved. That's it. That's the secret formula. She won't tell you because you're supposed to know. Exactly. You got to read the signs again. But when you're first dating a woman like in high school, right? You don't understand that. But trust me, after one relationship, you start to figure it out. And after a few relationships, you start to realize, okay, now I get it. When she's doing this, she wants me to do this, right? As you get older, like myself, then you just understand it. It's instinctual for the man once he gets older because he's learned. She won't tell you because you're supposed to know, but if she did, it would be something like, I said I was cold and you didn't offer me your jacket. I'm a chivalrous man from the old school days. Like with my ex, I would always offer her my jacket. I would always offer her whatever. I could tell if she was uncomfortable with whatever, and I would immediately rectify the situation most of the time before she would even ask me, right? Or have to ask me, because women don't really want to ask you. They want you to read their mind and figure it out. Read their mind is a fancy way of saying just have instinct to do the right thing, right? Now, my fan is squeaking a little bit in the background. I greased it up pretty well, so hopefully it's not going to squeak too much. If you hear some squeaking, forgive me. I got my new fan coming on Thursday. I got a new Vornado fan coming on Thursday. It's going to be awesome. All right. But if she did ask you, it would be something like, I said I was cold and you didn't offer me your jacket, or you saw me stretching to reach a can on the top shelf and you did nothing to help me, or even I stormed off in the middle of a discussion and you didn't chase after me. Well, I don't really think you should chase after a woman if she storms off in the middle of a discussion. You got to let her go and cool off. Never, ever, 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 ever chase a woman. Never. That's a big no-no. But see, it's a woman writing this article, so I can understand she's coming from the female perspective. As far as the other things, if you see her stretching and she can't reach a can on the top shelf, hey, babe, would you like me to grab that for you? And don't say, hey, babe, let me grab that for you. Because the modern woman's going to be like, oh, no, I can get it myself, right? You don't want to make it seem like they're not capable of doing it. You can ask them, hey, babe, would you like some help for me to reach that for you? Like Dana was a little bit shorter than me, my ex, right? And if she had, troubles reaching something, she, would either ask me, or if I was there, she would still try to do it on her own. But when I would ask her, hey, would you like my help to grab it? Oh, sure, babe. I would appreciate that, right? Just natural, right? These and other female frustrations arise when women test their men and their men fail. Yeah, a lot of men are just lazy. A lot of men feel that doing those kind of things are beneath them, right? And if you feel that doing, nice things for your woman that are reasonable are beneath you, then why are you dating her in the first place? I mean, seriously. Men are often confused by women's tests. They think I was cold too. She knew it would be chilly at night. Why didn't she bring her own jacket? Come on, dude. You're not being a man there, right? And that's a big turnoff, dude. See, what I used to do is I always had a couple of jackets, in my trunk. I'd have like 2 or 3 jackets, one for every occasion, a heavier jacket, a lighter jacket. I even had a snow jacket. I still do. I have all these jackets, in my trunk because you never know when you're going to need them. So you got to also think ahead as a man and be prepared when you go out, especially if it's a little bit chilly or it's been chilly. You have to be prepared for that. She can reach the top shelf if she steps on the kitchen chair. It's not hard. Come on, man. Oh, no wonder some women are angry nowadays and they're flexing their muscles because, God. But I think part of the reason men are reacting this way is because women are flexing their muscles, saying that we don't need a man for anything. So it can work both ways. How am I supposed to guess I should go after her? I thought the best thing to do was to give her some space. Well, with that one, I'll agree with you. But remember, the person writing this blog is a woman, so she's coming at it from the female perspective, right? So you got to give her space. She will come back to you. If she really cares, she'll come back to you. And when she comes back in the room or comes to you, she'll either say, hey, babe, can we talk? Or she'll just come and sit there near you but not say anything to you, and that's your sign to say, hey, babe, glad to see you're back. Would you like to talk about it? Whatever's bothering you? Sure, babe. Oh, that's all you got to do. It's pretty common sense. What they don't see, it's what's behind this confusing female attitude. I think that was a typo. I think they meant to write, what they don't see is what's behind this confusing female attitude. Right. I mean, there are things that are just normal instinctual things for both men and women to do. And because women are naturally more intuitive than men are, for most men that aren't intuitive, it's a little more difficult for them to, instinctively do these things. For me, I'm very intuitive. So I can pretty much, properly react to any situation. It's not saying I'm conforming. I just know what the right thing is to do. And I just do it, with my instinct, right? Just like the way women do it with their instinct, right? Translated, it would look something like this. I might be cold, but I'm ultimately interested in seeing if you can sacrifice some of your comfort for my well-being. And how much are you invested in protecting me and keeping me safe? In other words, can you be selfless? See, that's what they want to say, but they're not going to say it. You got to figure that out. It makes sense. I can drag the kitchen chair and pick up what I want myself, but I need to know if you can, A, be observant enough to notice I'm struggling, B, be proactive enough to take action and help me, or be a man, right? It's funny reading this stuff. Like, this is what the woman's mind is trying to convey to you without saying anything. I can stay and finish our argument, but I'm anxious for us to make up and move on. And I need to see if you're willing to put your ego aside and fight for me. I need to know how much you need me in your life. And in those cases, you got to show her, right? You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to be a needy guy. But in those cases where you're in that situation, you got to amp it up and you got to show her how much she means to you. Especially if you've been with her for 6 months, a year or more, at that point, you'd establish something. And if you don't feel the need to show her how much she means to you, in those situations at least, then why are you with her again, right? This is all pretty common sense, or at least it should be. The mismatch between what women do, say, and want and how men react are the source of much misunderstanding and frustration, especially when men don't pass the tests. Now, women will test you more on more things than what they're testing you on here. They're looking to see how strong of a man you are. They're looking to see if they can control you. They're looking to see if you're a conformist. They're looking to see how much they can push your buttons. And are you going to stand up for yourself? Or are you just going to tell her what you feel she wants to hear, right? Because if you tell her what she wants to hear just to appease her, she's going to pick up on that with her intuition, and it's game over. She's going to lose attraction for you, lose respect for you, and eventually fall out of love with you if she's already in love with you, and it's going to be over. And she's going to move on to another guy that she probably already has lined up as your replacement. Maybe for some of the time towards the end of the relationship, she maybe would be dating him at the same time. Don't put yourself in that position, guys. Come on. Be a man. Stand up for yourself. Don't be an asshole, but don't be a sissy either. Be a well-balanced man. Use your instincts, right? And learn to have some great intuition. Learn to become more intuitive on how to read the signs. The worst part is that most women don't even realize that what they're doing are tests. They don't. They do it instinctively. It's part of their intuition and part of their instinct. They still do it, still expect a response, still get frustrated when their partners fail, but they often don't even know why they feel that way, and that's what they say. And if you're a smart enough man like me, that's intuitive like me and has the intuition, you'll know why they feel that way, and you can say, hey, babe, listen, I understand you're not feeling well. Let's talk about this. No, I don't want to talk about it. Babe, let's talk about it because I don't want you to feel this way anymore. I care about you. I love you. And I'd rather have us go out to a nice dinner and have fun and smile and snuggle than you feeling this way. What do you prefer, babe? Do you prefer to feel this way, or do you want to have fun, snuggle, and have a nice meal and just enjoy each other's company? Okay, babe, let me tell you what's going on so we can go on with our night. Great, right? That's all you got to do. Be a man. It's simple. It's simple. Come on. Now, let me see how much longer this blog is here. That's not that much longer. Let me check out the chat here real quick. I got a few already this stream. Says Mutt, good, Mutt, awesome. Queen Helen Casey, I've been through all the controlling men, no more for me. Well, there's bound to be one or two good ones out there, Queen. There's bound to be one or two good ones out there. You just haven't found them yet. It's all right. You know, who knows what happens down the road one day. Are these tests then silly and unnecessary? Yes and no. Testing men in that way seems hardwired in the female brain. It is the manifestation of some ancient gene trying to screen for attentive, selfless, invested men. Yeah, well, women want to feel safe. They want the strongest gene to reproduce with to create strong, healthy kids. Okay? And they want a responsible man that's stable financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, etc., right? That's what you want as a man too, so why can't a woman have that as well, right? All I know is I have noticed myself unconsciously doing it and immediately decided to pay more attention to my actions. That's funny. So you started noticing yourself shit testing men, ma'am. So you started to pay more attention to what you're actually doing. Did that throw off your natural instinct and intuition? Boy, I'd love to be talking with this woman. If she's still single, like I would love to talk with her and see how a first conversation would go. Wow, that is interesting. Immediately after I explained the concept of testing to my boyfriend, I noticed that not only was I testing him a lot, but also that many of my actions could be perceived as tests, but weren't. Right. If you tell your, why would you tell your man you're testing him? Because now you're going to have your man on guard. Now your man's going to naturally assume everything you're doing is a test. But also, many of my actions could be perceived as tests. I said that, but weren't. Me trying to reach for something on the top shelf when he was around was obviously a test. Getting lost as I drove both of us to a restaurant could have been seen as a test of his patience, but it absolutely wasn't. In hindsight, most of these tests are indeed quite silly. Yes, ma'am, they are. And once you're aware of them, you tend not to use them as much. Well, when you've been with the guy for a while and you feel comfortable and safe with him, you don't need to test him anymore. They are, however, still quite useful as far as measuring your partner's responses goes. This was just, the grammar is horrible here. They are, however, still quite useful as far as measuring your partner's how your partner's response goes. I think you left out a word there, especially in the early stages of a relationship. Yeah, early on, testing is going to happen. And if you're with me, I'm going to be testing you as well, man. Like, I test women. I say this over and over again. I know women are testing me. I test them. I reverse the shit test, right? Now, that's a lot of women, when they realize they're being tested, they don't like it, right? And a lot of them get turned off by it. But that's fine. We just weren't meant to be. But a woman that is the right woman is going to understand, why I'm testing her as well, because I want to make sure that she's the right fit for me as much as she wants to make sure I'm the right fit for her. 50-50, right? What's wrong with that, right? A girl can ask, are you willing to be selfish, attentive, and invested? And any man can say yes. But as we know, actions speak louder than words. They do. Actions speak louder than words. So both guys and gals, don't be afraid to take action or action. Speak your mind. Don't hold back. If something doesn't seem right or you don't agree with something, even as the man, don't say what you think your woman wants to hear just to appease her. Be honest with her. And if being yourself and being honest with her is going to get you dumped, then it wasn't meant for you to be in the first place. But a woman that really wants to be with you is going to admire and appreciate the fact that you're being upfront and standing up for yourself. And it's probably going to turn her on. It's probably going to turn her on more, right? When you appease a woman just to tell her what she wants to hear, just to try to get her off your back, it's going to turn her off. And eventually will be the demise of your relationship. Stand up for yourself. Now, don't be a jerk, but also don't be a sissy. Stand up for yourself in a well-balanced way, man. And same thing for you, women. That's it. It's pretty simple. That's why women's tests can't simply be dismissed as silly. Well, there's a purpose to them, but, if a woman continuously is testing you over and over and over and over again, doesn't put her guard down doesn't put her guard down eventually to allow the man to, love her and then allow herself to love the man, then just not going to go anywhere. And I'll pick up on that. If a woman is not open, to receive love, and as a man, if you're not open to receive love, it's just not going to work. You got to be open to it. You got to open the floodgates, right, for love to come in. In every human relationship, there's a spoken and unspoken language. Tests are a part of that unspoken language. There's a reason why we test often unaware of what we're even doing in the first place. We each need particular reassurances, and we have our own tactics to obtain them. Well, women need more reassurance than men. Now, there are a lot of men nowadays that feel they need reassurance or ask for reassurance. That's not a masculine characteristic. Reassurance is not a masculine trait. It's not masculine energy, not masculine behavior. It's the same thing as saying, validation-seeking behavior. Like for women, validation-seeking behavior is normal. For men, it is not. Now, granted, every now and then after dating someone for a while, if the woman does something, and it's questionable, I think in some rare cases, it is okay for a man to seek reassurance. But for the most part, it's not. But for women are going to seek reassurance all the freaking time. And how do you prevent her from asking about reassurance all the time? You basically, with your actions, show her how much you care about her and how much you love her and how much you enjoy being with her. You reassure her with your actions. So that way, in many cases, you never even have to verbalize it. But yes, it's, in some cases you will have to verbalize it. You have to know when. If it is silly or not, it depends on what end of the test you're on. Okay. Is it silly, if we're on the receiving end of the test as men? Or if you're on the receiving end of our reverse test, right? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but typically the tests come from women to men. Most men don't test women. Me, I test them too. And any guy that I coach out there, I will help you and teach you what to look for and how to subtly test to see if that woman is compatible with you to continue dating and possibly getting into a relationship with. All right, let me see how much longer do we have here. We're almost done. Women, remember, testing has its limits. While I don't advocate becoming hyper-vigilant over your actions, I believe it is reasonable to be aware of the moments in which you test your partner. I agree. You got to test initially. You just have to eventually back off, put your guard down, and let love naturally happen. But I agree. Notice what kinds of tests you tend to lean on and how often you do them. True. Don't overdo it. Just don't overdo it, because if it's me that you're over testing, I'm going to pick up on it and it's going to annoy me and it's going to be game over. I'm just being honest with you. If you have been feeling the need, even subconsciously, to test your partner too often, it might either be because he has been failing a lot, which makes you insecure about the relationship and wanting to test it even further. Well, women are naturally going to be more insecure than men. Men being insecure is not a masculine characteristic or the most masculine thing to be. Women are going to naturally, biologically be more insecure than men. But there is a point where women become extremely insecure, and that's even considered not normal, above and beyond the normal level of women being insecure, in my opinion. So basically, if you have been feeling the need, even subconsciously, to test your partner too often, it might either be because he has been failing a lot, which makes you insecure about the relationship and wanting to test it even further. So if you keep failing shit tests, guys, they're going to test you harder. Or in case your partner consistently passes every test, Continuing to test him might mean that you have deep insecurities and fear of abandonment that you should perhaps talk to a therapist about. That depends on your upbringing with your family. So if your father or mother or both abandoned you, then yes, I would suggest therapy on that. That is well above and beyond what a coach can help you with. And you could probably get on some medication for that. But yeah. Basically, there are, and also even for normal women that have been taken advantage of by many men, and they're tired of getting hurt, and they have trust issues that stem within themselves based on what happened in their prior relationships with men. Even if a man passes every one of your shit tests, you're going to continue shit testing him because you're going to say he's too good to be true. I've heard that many times. I've talked about that before as well. Oh, wow, you sound too good to be true. I'm just me. Why do you say that? Because you're saying everything I want to hear. And I respond to that by saying, I'm not telling you what you want to hear. This is how I feel. And if it still happens to be, what you like as well, then where's the problem? Oh, there's no problem. It's just hard to believe. Like, well, I get it. There are many game players out there. I'm just not one of them. And you have an option. You can give me the chance to get to know me and I can get to know you. Or if you feel it's too good to be true and you're too afraid to take that chance, let's part ways. You got to be direct. Your time is valuable. You can't put up with that stuff. If they're not ready, they're not ready. Let me see here. Okay, so testing is part of the unspoken language of a relationship. Remember, men do it too. Oh, we do. But not all men know how to do it or understand it. But the men that are strong, competent alpha males are definitely reverse testing women. They are. They absolutely are. But these tests can't tell you everything you need to know about your partner. It is healthy to understand their limitations, understand what you're doing and why, and ask yourself, how much of it is reasonable? Sometimes you can catch yourself in the act and cut your partner some slack. Absolutely. Don't overdo it. Get to know each other. Testing is just another fancy way of getting to know each other and seeing how compatible you are and seeing the type of person each of you is, right? And seeing if you have enough common ground to establish a relationship, right? That's it. That's pretty much it. Men, be aware. Not everything is a test. If you act as everything is a test, you're guaranteed to fail. Absolutely. But if women do overly test, and then I say, hey, look, can we just relax a little bit, put your guard down, let's get to know each other. I'll say that one time. And if she continues to test me, then I'm out. Because then I know she's heavily guarded, and it's not me that's the issue. She still has things to work through within herself. Yes, women will test you, but not everything is a test. That's not how women operate. Well, it is how they operate for the most part, but not everything is a test. But a lot of it in the beginning is, if not every part of it in the beginning is. If you're always on guard, expect a test at every corner, right? And if you're on guard, ma'am, women on the flip side, I'll be testing you as well. Because when you're on guard, you're making me feel defensive. And I don't want to feel defensive with a woman I'm dating. Once you put me on the defensive as a man, it's over. I'm telling you. And I think it's the same for women on the flip side. So again, if you're always on guard expecting a test at every corner, you'll not only become unnecessarily stressed out, but you'll definitely fail. Also, don't worry about being anything other than yourself to pass any kind of test. Be you. That's the best way to pass the test. Be you. Be real. Don't try too hard. Just be relaxed and laid back and don't expect anything. Let the natural flow of progression go where it's supposed to go. And if it doesn't go where it's supposed to go, then move on and find someone else that it may go there with, which is what I'm trying to say. So again, also don't worry about being anything other than yourself to pass any kind of test. When women test, they do it to look for traits they want in a partner. Right. They want to have a physically attractive man, like you want a physically attractive woman. They want a strong man to be able to protect them and to reproduce strong, healthy children with, right? Okay. They want a financially stable man, just like you want a financially stable woman nowadays. Nowadays, both men and women are working, right? Okay. They want an emotionally stable and a mentally stable man. They want a man that can communicate, right? Just like you want the same things on the flip side from a woman, right? I think I've said enough. Pretending to have those traits is not only a disservice to her, but to yourself as well, right? If you pretend to be someone else to get the woman, and she ends up liking the pretend version of yourself, what's going to happen when the real you comes out? She's not going to like that. It's not going to work. You're wasting your time and hers. Come on. That's an obvious one, or it should be, as it will land you in a relationship that works in the short term, right? Because some guys will do that just to get a little action, right? That's the guys that just want a little action will pretend in the beginning because they just want, a week or two of consistent sex, and then when the woman figures out who the guy really is, it's over, right? But at least they got some nookie in the meantime, right? It's not the kind of guy I am, but a lot of guys do that. And then it screws it up for us guys that want something real. Creates more trust issues for women. But that's unsustainable in the long run. All right. So that's going to do it, folks. Hopefully you're not able to hear that fan too loud. It's squeaking a little bit every now and then. Again, I can't wait to get my new fan on Thursday, a nice new Vornado. Let me go back to full screen here. Give me a second here. Let me go back to full screen. And you know what? I got to do something real quick here. I've got to add, I forgot to add this as a source to the description section. So give me a second. I love the new YouTube Studio. It allows you to do everything from one section. It is just, I can add this right now so simply. It's incredible. So I just added it there. So folks, if you want to check out this blog and look at the comments below it, just go below the description section, a couple of lines down, and you'll see the source link there. I'll also share it in the chat right now, in case you want to check it out. Let me look at the chat one last time, and let me actually go to full screen to do that, and see if there's anything left. If not, we're going to get on out of here, and who knows? Who knows? There may be a second stream coming later tonight. Be on the lookout. I may do another stream in a few hours. I'm feeling like I'm getting most of my energy back. I feel phenomenal today. I'm almost back to normal. Gosh, this pinched nerve has been a pain in the you-know-what. Queen Helen Case says, I've been through all the controlling men, no more for me. I read that earlier. Muttnuts World says, Queen, I've been through some really bad relationship in the past, and I was about to give up on dating till I met my boyfriend. He showed me there are still good guys out there, and that's a wonderful story, Mutt. It's an amazing story. Queen says, Mutt, I gave up on dating because I know baby mamas are involved, and I don't want to be a part of it. Well, yeah, I understand that, Queen. And Queen, no one's going to tell you what to do, but you're a good woman. And, you deserve to have someone good in your life. But if you've become the female version of MGTOW, we're going to consider you WGTOW. We're going to consider you a woman going your own way. Okay? Women going their own way, WGTOW, WGTOW. There's MGTOW, men going their own way, and then there's WGTOW. which was kind of made up, but some women used to use that label, WGTOW, WGTOW, women going their own way. All right, folks, I'm going to get on out of here. It is 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time in my neck of the woods. I will more than likely be back at around 9:30 Eastern, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific for another brief stream. I'll be back. Just stick around. With that being said, thank you to everyone for being here. Thank you to Queen Helen Casey. Thank you to Mutt Nuts World. Thank you to Lewis Fuller earlier. And thank you to everyone else watching behind the scenes. Have yourself a great night. Oh, Mutt says, not sure when I'm going live. Have that 7-day class starting tomorrow, but hope to get a few in this week. I got a lot going on this week and next week. All right, great, Mutt. All right, folks, have yourself a great one, and I'll see you in a bit. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye. We're out. We're out. We're out. We're out. We're out. Bye-bye. We're out.